Now, David and his friend Alex were up in the North Woods doing some ice fishing. Now, they were in a very remote area near a very large lake. And this area was considered to be sacred ground by the Native Americans. So, being that it was the middle of winter and it was very cold, they were being very precautious. They had a very large fire going. As they sat around the campfire, they began to hear something coming from the woods. David said, "What is that? Like, what's that sound?" And his friend Alex goes, "I don't know. Like, I hear it too." And he says, "Well, maybe we should go and investigate and see what it is." So they both get up and they start walking out into the woods. The next thing David knows, he's lying on the ground and he is ice cold, and his friend Alex is gone. He gets up, he starts looking around for him. He starts yelling his name. He doesn't see Alex anywhere. He makes his way back to their campsite, only to discover that the fire has completely burned out. That's when it started to snow. And it was coming down very, very heavy, almost like a blizzard. So David knew that he needed to find a cave or some kind of shelter to keep him warm from this very bad snowstorm. So he makes his way out into the woods again, and he starts wandering. The snow was coming down heavier and heavier by the minute, and he can barely see in front of him. And that's when he hears, "Turn around, he's behind you." He hears a voice. He looks around, he can't see anything because it's snowing everywhere. And once again, he hears, "Turn around, he's behind you." So David just keeps on walking. And he keeps hearing over and over again, "Turn around, he's behind you." Finally, it gets to the point where he can not even see what's in front of him because the snow is coming down so heavy now. And he knows if he doesn't find shelter soon, that will be the end of him. He said that's when all of a sudden he ran into something. And as he starts feeling around, he feels what seems like some sort of wooden shingles. And he realizes there's some sort of cabin. Now, the rule of the North Woods is when there is a very bad snowstorm, you are always welcome into someone's cabin. So he makes his way around this cabin and eventually finds the door handle. He opens up the door, and right as he turns the handle, he hears, "Come in." And as he opens the door, he says, thank you. Like, I've lost my friend. Like, there's a heavy snowstorm. Like, I don't know what to do. I need to take shelter. And I hope you don't mind me just coming in here. Like, but I need a place to stay for the night." But as he makes his way into this cabin, it is completely pitch black. There's no lights. There's no candles. There's no fire going. It's just completely dark. But out of the corner of his eye, in the corner of the room, he sees the silhouette of a person sitting in a chair. So David makes his way around this cabin, and he finds a spot where he can sit down. And he tells this man, like, "Thank you for once again for letting me come in. Like, there's just a really bad storm out there, and I don't know what to do." And he says, "If you just give me a few moments, I will go out and I'll gather some firewood and I'll get a fire going." And he said that's when this person said, "Yes, hungry." He said, "Oh, you're hungry?" He's like, "I don't have any food with me. Like, I left it back at the campsite. But, in the morning, maybe I could do some hunting or fishing, and I could give you something to eat. And he says, yes, delicious. So he keeps trying to have a conversation with this guy, and the guy doesn't really talk that much. He says very little. And he can't even see what this guy looks like. He doesn't even know who he is. He just sees the outline of him in the darkness. So he says, you know what? I'm kind of tired. I'm going to try and get some shut-eye, and in the morning I'll try and see if I can find my friend Alex. So he lays on his back, and he manages to find something to put behind his head. And he starts dozing off. And that's when he hears, turn around, he's behind you. And he wakes up. And he looks over in the corner. He doesn't see the silhouette of the man anymore. This man is now gone. And he said as he turned and looked around the room, he could not see this man anymore. So he just sits up. And he's, kind of panicking. And he keeps hearing, turn around, he's behind you. And he's thinking to himself, like, where is this guy? Like, what is he messing with me? Like, what's going on? And he could just hear the wind whipping against the house. He said that's when finally he turns around. And the next thing he knows, he feels this sharp pain throughout his body. And he's on the ground. He wakes up, and it's now morning. The sun is shining into the window of the cabin. And he said that's when he looked over in the direction of where that man was sitting. And he said that guy wasn't there. It was his friend Alex, a half-eaten body. And he discovered he's missing a tooth. One of his teeth were stuck into his friend Alex. That's when it occurred to him. He had been stuck in this snowstorm for a very long time, and he had eaten his friend.